It's that time of year, ladies and gentlemen, when we're wondering what is happening within one of the biggest publishers and studio houses in the industry. A Redditor, which is how you always start a great story, posted something over on Blue Sky, no Reddit, where they basically collected a mix of rumors, leaks, confirmed titles from PlayStation's first-party studios. And I thought it'd be interesting to look through these and see where we are, kind of get a pulse check on everything, because things have changed within PlayStation significantly. Lots of cancellations, lots of shifts. There's new leaks and rumors about different things that are happening. And this individual, Kikon Kok, I think, did a very good job of collecting all of these tidbits here. So I thought we'd look through them. There's a collection of kind of confirmed obvious stuff, like Wolverine, for example. There's others that are more question marks. Technically, some stuff outlined in here are leaks and rumors and stuff. As you can see, like Gummy Bears, this was the one that started at Bungie. Game Post describes it as a MOBA with some Smash Bro elements. What? But we'll get to this. Okay, we'll talk about it. But there are some interesting tidbits in here as well. And it hopefully will give you a broader picture of what's going on and what the timeline is. Because, of course, we have the obvious one, which is Wolverine, that's expected later this year. That presumably is still going to happen. And we have those, but we also are expecting next year there to become more of a regular pace with some of Sony's big stuff. So we're gonna see where this is at. Yeah, what a name. Yeah, I'm sure it's like, with my luck, it's like some sort of religious affiliation, and I just offended many people, but I'm trying. How am I supposed to say that? Keckenkok? That sounds worse to me if I just say it quickly. I don't know how to say. Thank you anyway for the post. It's very, very well done. Naughty Dog, number 1, Intergalactic: The Heretic Prophet, expected to come out 2027, obviously. This is one that I think is going to be fascinating to see, but amazingly enough, it's also turned out to be somewhat controversial. You know, I think mainly just coming off of the rough few years for Naughty Dog, lots of remakes, remasters. Season 2 of the show also kind of perturbed people. How that affects the game, I don't think it'll do that much. A lot of the drama is specifically targeting Neil. Love him or hate him, he is a polarizing figure, which, whether you love him or hate him, you probably agree with. He is a polarizing figure, but he does have good taste in watches, which at the very least I can give him credit for, because
Neil has a lot more money than you. He's better than us. We're poor.
I am jealous of his watches. Having said that, that is expected probably to come out sometime next year. It's said to be inspired by Elden Ring. Specifically, this was a rumor that was coming around. Somebody familiar with the game said that it reminded them of Elden Ring. It was given, like, a lot of people internally compared it to Elden Ring specifically. MinMax's Ben Hansen said, quote, "I've heard Naughty Dog's next game is very inspired by a game with a lot of player freedom. Elden Ring is what it was compared to. It's taking place on one planet, uncovering the history of this world." You can kind of see a little bit where they might be going with that. This is also coming off the backs of a lot of interviews that Neil did back right after The Last of Us Part 2 and around the launch of Elden Ring, where he said that what he was most interested in exploring in his next game was specifically the idea that you can tell a story without dialogue and cutscenes. So he loved the idea of exploring how to tell a story in a Naughty Dog way without relying so heavily on cutscenes, like environmental storytelling, things like that. You know, that's the key. And I don't know how that works. Naughty Dog obviously is known for like cinematic storytelling, for cutscenes, for motion capture excellence and all that. And I'm sure that they're very, they'll still have a lot of that, obviously, as we saw in the trailer that they released. But I don't know how this is going to work when it comes to taking lessons and learnings from Elden Ring and trying to mix that in with Naughty Dog's expertise. But either way, they are very, very good at what they do when it comes to storytelling. So that's going to be interesting to see. One of the last things we heard about the game, obviously, was that Naughty Dog employees had to work overtime to get the game done. Specifically, not get the game done. This specific story, little correction, is specifically that they were working on a demo. That demo was due by the end of December of 2025. And apparently they had to crunch to get that demo done. And that meant that people were like staying in the studio super late hours. And it was It was a whole thing because Naughty Dog famously in their Grounded 2 documentary about the making of The Last of Us Part 2 said many times over that they did not want to do crunch anymore, that they wanted to get rid of that. But that's just apparently that's only true for a little while because it's back. So they did crunch. They are working on it. Apparently 2027 is when it's expected. If they did a demo, this is what I've been saying. If they were working on a demo at the end of December, that demo, like if they're working on a demo, is the demo just for internal review? If it was so important that they needed to crunch to finish it, is it just for executives? I wouldn't think so. So this made me think maybe there's a reveal or another trailer coming soon. It's expected that there's probably a showcase in May at some point for PlayStation, and that showcase will have a lot. They'll probably call it a state of play, but there'll be some show where they reveal a lot of stuff, and that maybe Intergalactic shows up once more with that demo gameplay preview or whatever from December. That's kind of my expectation. So I do think we'll see it soon. I don't think they would have crunched just for like an internal review. I think that probably is more that they are going to do this. Let's see. Unannounced Uncharted project. This is one we've talked about a few times. Sean Escague, who is somebody that has worked all over. He left for a little while, came back to Naughty Dog. He has been the project director on this since apparently 2022. Not much is known about it. Claims are about it being a dual protagonist title with Nate and Cassie. Those claims are apparently debunked as of right now. Who knows exactly what it looks like, but it's been rumored for a while that this is probably something that they are working on. Specifically, the rumors were for a long time that it was going to be specifically about Cassie, and that it was going to be a game, kind of a new reboot of Uncharted. I'm guessing it's probably not called Uncharted 5. I think it's going to be a new trilogy or something focused on her. I do personally like the idea of a dual protagonist thing where they would do like Nate basically passing the torch off to her. I don't know if they're going to do that. I just think that Uncharted is Nathan Drake. I don't know how it works to pass it off to a new protagonist. Like obviously for the Lost Legacy, they did do that. They tried to have it with Chloe and Nadine. In my humble opinion, it didn't work anywhere near as well. Obviously, a lot of people did like it even still, but I don't know if for a standalone game if that works in the same way. So I'm interested, but I do think that you should have Nathan in the game in some capacity to kind of pass the torch, but we'll see. Last of Us Part 3 also supposedly coming at some point. Neil has hinted at this many times, teased many times at this point by Neil and Naughty Dog developers in lots of interviews. Lots of storylines that could be part of it have been teased, like a story with Tommy, continuation of the Fireflies, and a congregation of immune people. He's hinted at it a bunch of times. At the end of that Grounded 2 documentary, Neil was saying like, there's probably another chapter to this story that needs to be told and stuff like that. I don't know what that means. I don't know where they go. I think The Last of Us needs to be about Joel and Ellie. I don't think that they're going to do Last of Us with like just Abby or something. I don't think they'll do something like that. If it's The Last of Us Part 3 specifically, if that's how it's framed, that's not like The Last of Us Renegade or something spinoff, it's probably going to still have them. Neil has previously said that The Last of Us is about Joel and Ellie. So I don't know what that would be. What I think would be cool is if they explore what Joel and Tommy did to survive after Sarah's death. That I think would be cool. It's something fans have wanted to see for a long time, to specifically see how Joel got to where he was right at the start of the first game. And I think that could be really cool. But whether we'll see that or not, I don't know. Personally, I think that's less likely. Neil really likes games with like strong female protagonists and narratives, and a game focused on Joel and Tommy. I'm not sure if that's his style recently, but we'll see. Part 3, Joel comes back as a ghost. It would actually, dude, imagine if they did The Last of Us Part 3, but it was straight up like Batman Arkham Knight, where like the Joker keeps popping up on like buildings while you're exploring. And so like Ellie bursts in a door and she's having a mental breakdown slowly over the course of the game and just opens a door and Joel's there talking to you. That could actually be kind of funny. That could be funny. Yeah, Johnny Silverhand him. You could do that, honestly. And it probably would. I think that would have gone over better than The Last of Us Part 2. Imagine that. Yeah. The fungus is infecting her brain and slowly corrupting her. And so she starts to see Joel as she goes on this adventure to, I don't know, do something. Maybe they get word that there's a scientist in New York City that can actually cure this, but Ellie has to be there alive to finally do the operation where they extract her brain and make a cure. And so like as she goes, she starts losing her mind slowly. That could be really, really cool. That could honestly be interesting. More likely, I think they're going to do something more insane or she's just effing crazy. That could be too. There were rumors that maybe they were going to explore like a congregation of immune people. I hope they don't do that, because that kind of kills like everything that makes Ellie special. I hope that's not what they do, but I guess we'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Santa Monica, the big one. God of War Faye spinoff. This, of course, has been rumored for a little while. Plot claimed to be centered around Faye and Tyr traveling to different mythologies in a time before God of War 2018. These reportedly include the Mayan and East Asian mythologies. Could be really, really cool. Directed by Cory Barlog, and a different combat style as well. It will not play similarly or that similarly to the previous games. It will play very, very differently, which would be interesting. I don't know exactly what that's going to be like, but I'm here for it. And like I said, Cory knows what he's doing. Santa Monica knows what they're doing. So that could be really, really cool. And if it's releasing next year, assuming Intergalactic is fall of next year, and then this is spring, I mean, I think that's where it has to land. Sony usually does big spring game and a big fall game. So like this year they're doing Saros, and then Wolverine. Next year could be the God of War spinoff, and then Intergalactic. That seems to line up nicely. God of War Trilogy Remake, of course, they announced this. Christopher Judge said that there was a new combat system. Wait, I didn't hear this. Oh, it was struck? Oh, oops. Oops. I didn't see that. It says God of War Remakes will have TC Carson, new combat system. I guess maybe I did see this before because this is posted 2 months ago, but I didn't realize they struck it and took down the clip. That to me makes it seem much more likely that it's real. But okay, so he says it's a new combat system. I don't know how that works because I really like the arcadey one of the OG games. And if you're going to remake it, I guess they just didn't want to have to remake the combat system 1-to-1. But if they just remake it and it ends up having the same combat system as the recent games, I don't know how that works. So who knows? We'll see. But it seems very, very, very early on. So we'll see how that goes. God of War Sons of Sparta 2 to be determined, according to Erfan, one of the first leakers for Sons of Sparta. An entire 2D trilogy was in the cards, but it depended on the first game's reception. Of course, God of War Sons of Sparta, this is that like 2D side-scrolling one that they dropped kind of out of nowhere. This was rumored for a while. Honestly, it didn't end up hitting, I think, like they were hoping for. A lot of people found it just to be kind of I downloaded it. I played a bit of it, and bro, I fell off of it. I was like, I'm feeling like I may just look up a story synopsis and do it that way. Like it just was not clicking with me. And it seems like I think a lot of other people had a similar reaction to it. It just seemed to be, I don't know. It just didn't hit for me. It did not hit for me. You know, bounced off of it really quick. So I'd be surprised, honestly, if they greenlit a trilogy. But maybe they were really like cheap to make. I don't know. But it wasn't what I was hoping for when it comes to like a 2.5D side-scrolling game. It just didn't click. Insomniac Wolverine, of course, expected September 15th. No delay announced as of yet. So I would expect it's pretty well locked in. I don't think you can delay it because you run into GTA 6. So I think it's coming in September. It's leaked across the board. Yeah, what's left to say about this game that hasn't leaked? Yeah, pretty much everything. So like if you want to know the details of the story, if you want to know details about literally everything, it's all out there. So I encourage you not to look that up. Don't do that. Try to enjoy it when it drops, but it's expected to come. Marvel's Venom also is expected to come out probably sometime in 2027. That was the original window, at least. MP First claims the game will star Eddie Brock as the protagonist. Carnage is the main villain. Anti-Venom would make an appearance in some capacity. Not much is known about it beyond that. It was very, very early during those Insomniac leaks, so who knows? But it was originally slated for 27. My guess would be it might have slipped to 28, given that the other games like Intergalactic is more locked in for 27. And I don't think Sony wants to drop 3 AAA games in the same year if they can help it. They tend to like to space them. Spider-Man 3, this one, release window 2028. Cindy Moon Silk has been added as protagonist alongside Peter and Miles. Green Goblin would act as the main villain and have a goblin army. Also a chance of Spider-Man 2099 making an appearance. Okay. It's a ways off. we'll see. Again, my primary concern, focus, whatever, is that Insomniac's writing quality for Spider-Man 2 was abysmal, in my humble opinion. It was really bad. Somehow they dodged the blowback from that like 2022 to 2024 window where any game with bad writing was eviscerated. Somehow they dodged that blowback and managed not to face any of it. But dude, the writing was terrible. So I hope that they respond to some of the feedback and overhaul it. I don't think they will though, because I think they don't think there was a problem. We've done segments looking at interviews with like the game's director and some of the people that worked on it. And it seemed very, they seemed belligerently confident in some of the design choices they had. So I don't think it's enough to like ruin the game or anything, but I think it's enough to knock like a point off the score. Like some of the stuff they did, the famous refrigerator scene being iconic at this point for sure. But yeah, I hope that they revisited some of those writing principles before they tackled like Wolverine and the third game. Ratchet and Clank Ragtag Team. Probably a year following that, Marvel's X-Men, probably even after that, almost certainly PlayStation 6 game, and that's true of a lot of these. New IP also is expected at some point later on in the generation as well. They did several pitches for new IP. Nobody really knows what that's going to look like or if it will ever be greenlit and see the light of day. It's possible they just end up being the Marvel studio forever. Maybe they let them do a new IP. Who knows? Fire Sprite, Until Dawn 2, which was labeled Project Heartbreak. Release windows unknown. According to Colin Moriarty, the game is set on an island with a female lead. I loved Until Dawn, the original one. It seems like such an oversight and a blunder that they never really nailed that as its own kind of subgenre of the narrative games. So I think that this needs more love and attention and focus. So I am hopeful that this does see the light of day because I really like the OG. It was campy and stupid and silly, just like, the Quarry that would come after it. I like those games, but some people don't. I like how campy and silly and stupid they are. Guerrilla Games, of course, Horizon Hunter's Gathering. That's coming. It's a co-op game with different art styles. Some closed betas have already happened, so there's a chance for the full release to happen next year. Possibly next year, possibly this year. Maybe they cancel it. Who knows? But I do think it's almost certainly coming at some point. I don't think Herman's going to cancel it. I know some people have thought that maybe based on the reaction they would, but I don't think so. I think they'll do more play tests. They'll do that stuff, and it'll just kind of release to a whimper, it seems. I have not seen anybody that's like super stoked about it. At least not enough to like, I think, make it profitable. Because bear in mind, like, this game is from one of their top studios. It's one of their most expensive studios, and they've been working on it for years. Like, I think the game director was assigned to it 6 years ago or something like that. So they've been working on this for ages, and it is extremely expensive. So this thing does not, like, this doing 10,000 concurrents, that's not enough. This needs to pop off in order to turn a profit. And bear in mind, they also are probably going to sell it as a premium priced game, which I think will harm it even more. So I think it's going to be fascinating to see how this goes. But like, I fully expect that Marathon has already greatly outperformed the numbers this is going to do. But I think that this is probably more expensive than Marathon, like, to make, which is wild. Horizon 3, TBD, according to Jason, it's still a long way off from launch since Hunter's Gathering took most of their workforce, which is true. Some people were trying to suggest that Hunter's Gathering was just like a small spin-off team of like 15 people. No, like it's like the team. The Forbidden West team is on this. This is what they're doing. So it's not a spin-off small project. Like, this is all hands on deck, very expensive. Okay, very expensive. Bungie, Destiny 3, of course, reported last year by Destiny to be an extremely early development, so no one should expect this until the next decade at the earliest. Yeah, so early 2030s, frankly, is likely. Honestly, it's probably late in the PS6 generation. Let that settle in. That's the timelines we're talking about, if Bungie still exists at that point. Haven is working on Fair Game $, which, yes, is Fair Games now. They removed the $. Sorry, not sorry. But it was originally scheduled for release last year. It was announced, of course, back in 2023 with a CGI trailer. It has not seen the light of day since then. Insider Gaming recently released some info about it, and based on playtesters, the game isn't fun yet. They've done repeated playtests. There was one playtest where reportedly after, it was also Insider Gaming that reported it, apparently Jade Raymond, who co-founded the studio, left. Shortly after that, the creative director of the game left. And so there's just been departure after departure. It's apparently a game that just cannot find its footing. What is fascinating, though, is that reportedly, according to Insider Gaming, this original art style is almost completely gone from the game. In his most recent article, he said that the style resembled like The Division and Call of Duty much more than this. So this like poppy purple art style, very Ubisoft circa 2014, this whole vibe apparently is gone and they cut it. So I expect next time we see it, it will look very different. People like be like, I think people are going to be like, this is Fair Games. I think it's probably very, very different than what we last saw it as. But is that enough? Time will tell. They can change the style, which I think is a good move to rebrand it. But I like whether or not it's fun is a separate question. And that's what the reporting says has been a struggle for them to find. It's just making it fun, something people want to play for months on end. But that's still coming. It's been delayed a ton and it's still undergoing playtests, but Herman refuses to close it. So they're still working on it. Housemarque, of course, has Sorrows coming very, very soon. It's reviewed really well. I will have a video out on it. Possibly tomorrow we put it out. I think I have to double check embargo info, but basically it's really good. It's way more approachable than Returnal was. So a lot of people who played Returnal for like 10 hours and then gave up on it after a really bad run or something, this game is like tailor-made for you. If you liked what Returnal was, but like you just couldn't get through all the way, this is for you, because there's a lot of stuff they've done to make it more approachable while still retaining what makes it work. It's not easier. Like I know some people say it's easier. It is. You are able to adjust it, but you're also able to adjust it up. Like if you need it more difficult, there's modifiers that reward you for playing more difficult with more difficult modifiers. If you want to make it a little bit easier to like lower the damage you take by a tad, you can do that, but you have to balance it out with a negative modifier to make it level. So it's not strictly easier. It's not like there's an easy mode, but I get why people say that. But overall, it's very, very good, and there's a reason it's reviewed very, very positively. Because it's very good. Yeah, IGN gave it a 7 and complained about it. Yeah, they complained that it was repetitive. A roguelike, they said it was too repetitive. That's like eating fish and saying it tastes too fishy. Like, do you know what you ordered? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Hey, Luke, how long do you think Sony can realistically keep gambling their money away on live service cash cows? Until they run out and Herman's gone. Realistically, I think they've already started to tone it back. At this point, it seems like they're not greenlighting a lot of new live service projects. They're just seeing through all the ones that they had. So I think Concord was the wake-up call that they can't just throw money and gamble like crazy. So now what they're doing with like Fair Games is that they are giving it time, delaying it, doing play tests, collecting player feedback, going back to the drawing board, redesigning stuff. You don't like the art style? Okay, we'll redo the art style, things like that. So they're trying to give it the time to actually stand a chance of success instead of just throwing it out to the wolves, which is what they did with Concord. So it's a better approach. And maybe this is cynical of me, I just am a personal believer that there's some game concepts and ideas that just will never work. Like I think that there's just some concepts for games that just don't work and will never find Fortnite money. Like it just doesn't work, but maybe that's negative of me. Team LFG is working on Gummy Bears. As I mentioned earlier, this is a spin-off project. I believe it originated at Bungie. They bought Bungie. This spun off into its own team and they're working on it. It's apparently a MOBA that has Smash Bro elements. I don't know what that means. It would have entered pre-alpha testing stage last year, and it was also discovered that a Discord server was created for the game. Tells me also they're probably doing closed play tests and stuff like that. Could be cool. It sounds unique at the very least. So we'll see what that looks like. Bend Studio, of course, they are one of the last studios standing as well. Of course, Bluepoint was canned and shut down, even though they were amazingly talented. But Bend dodged that. They are reportedly working on an unannounced live service project suggested by job listings to be yet another live service title after the cancellation of their latest multiplayer project, Mirror Pond. We don't know anything about it. What we do know is a lot of the people who worked on Days Gone are no longer there, and things have shifted and changed a lot. But it's some sort of multiplayer live service game. So who knows? Some other studios which we know close to nothing about their next projects are, of course, Sucker Punch. They just put out Yote. Who knows what they're working on next? Maybe another game in the Ghost series. It could be a new IP. We don't know. Team Asobi, who knows what they're working on? It could also be another. I mean, it could be literally anything. They can kind of do whatever they want at this point after 2024. Media Molecule. We also have Polyphony Digital. I don't know how to say it, from which we can expect more Gran Turismo. San Diego studio with MLB The Show, but that's pretty much the lineup we have right now. It's kind of surprising when you lay it out like this, how straightforward it seems, but this is what we're looking at. So we do have a number of very large games. It does seem like 2027 is going to be a big year and they're going to come out swinging, but you also got to remember that somewhere in this mix, they have the PlayStation 6 launching probably realistically 2028. There's been rumors they might try to expedite to like 2027, not expedite, but the original timeline was late 27. I think it's 28 personally, but we'll see. Next year, we could be getting a new generation. We don't know. But here's what I find fascinating is just after all of this, like I look at this lineup, but then I think it also compare it to like what Xbox has. And bro, things could get spicy in the next couple of years. Like if Xbox is actually able to step up the quality bar and start delivering consistently really high quality games, dude, you could start seeing Xbox regularly compete for Game of the Year in a way that they've never done. Of course, a lot of these I think are going to do tremendously well at like Game Awards shows, obviously, but you could start to see things getting really, really interesting really quickly. It's going to be fascinating to watch, but there you go. There's the lineup, everything Sony's got going on. Yeah, main takeaway, don't worry. Fair Games is still coming. Don't worry. Still coming.